Hello, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Kristen. Sorry.
I pushed my last yawn out so fast because
I was like mid-yawn. I apologize. I'm Kristen.
And I'm Rachel.
This has been a long weekend.
It's been a long couple days.
We're a little emotionally stripped.
Yeah.
It's really spectacular.
It really is. It really is.
That episode was great.
Yeah.
I've been enjoying it the whole time, but I will admit secretly, I'm like, I hope it like pays off.
I think it's going to.
It's paying.
It is. Yeah.
It's paying off. I mean, I can't imagine what they'd have to do in the last episode for me to not like for them to drop it.
Yeah.
The pit and the pendulum.
Woof.
I was waiting for it. I am very, very, very pleased that it was as literal as it was.
It's similar to the Telltale Heart.
Yeah. I still think that was like a take, or well, it felt like the next evolution.
Sure.
Of, but this was very classic. This was very medieval.
Yeah. Well, and also it was so deserved.
Yep.
Which Verna did say. She was like, you made it this bad.
She took pleasure.
Yeah.
In
she was like, I usually don't get my hands this dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do the past.
Yeah.
So let's
start in Russia.
Yeah, it is very like our Stranger Things season 4 coverage. We are so bored in Russia.
Well, I like this better than that, but still.
No, sure. But that, like, so I kind of loved every aspect of that, where basically they were like going over and over the testimony. And I guess just the whole time he was stringing Dupin along. Because as soon as they got in there for the deposition, he was like, nope, this is my signature. Everything's on the up and up.
Well, and yeah, so he threw
Dupin
under the bus in order to get a leg up with the company.
Yeah.
And it seems, and I think is the case, that was sort of Madeline's plan all along.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't cut Annabelle Lee in. I don't know if that was strategic on her part, but because they needed her in order to get Dupin in.
Yeah,
because he admitted that he was like, the only reason why I trust you is because of her.
That scene though with Madeline and Annabelle in the kitchen after, she's just sobbing like a baby, and Madeline is like, oh, you're being serious.
She was like, this is really you.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you were playing a role.
Yeah.
Like,
which was hilarious.
I love Madeline.
Because she knows no other way of being.
Yeah.
Because she's had to...
Madeline?
Yeah, because, I mean, what's her name? Raven.
Verna.
There you go. She said you're a collection of 1,000 masks. Yeah. And she has no concept of someone just being their true self.
Which they had to strategize her way out of
foster care.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is that Roderick is essentially useless.
Mm-hmm.
Like Madeline has been the one cleaning up the messes the entire time.
We got in this episode that Verna will sort of tell them what they could have been.
Yeah.
And Roderick would have been a poet. Bless.
Yeah.
Bless.
Yeah.
His heart.
Madeline
did what needed to be done.
Yeah. I did love too. I don't think we touched on it, but I did love when they were in the bar and she was speaking to Verna and Roderick was away dancing with that girl. She said, "Would you rather be famous or rich?" And without hesitation, she said rich, which feels like the correct answer because fame is shallow, but
it's also fleeting.
It also is fleeting, but I did really like that.
Well, also people, you're accounted for if you're famous.
Yeah.
If you're rich, you
can hide. And I did love that Verna, like, it was almost like, respect. Okay, you understand how these riddles are played.
So, I'm thinking this right now in real time, so correct me if I'm wrong, but Madeline keeps saying to Roderick that he knows what's happening. Does he?
Well, she's like, you know the deal that we made.
But Madeline made the deal. We haven't seen Roderick. Because Roderick was dancing with that other person.
I don't know. She keeps saying we.
We haven't seen a deal be made.
Yeah, we haven't seen the end of that bar.
We've seen the beginnings of it, but nothing has been offered.
Yeah.
I mean, Madeline kissed Verna. And I mean, that's
nice.
tantamount
sort of like
to it.
Sealed with a kiss.
That's tantamount to a deal. But you are correct. I mean, if you're going through the motions, it gives me the mistletoe conversation from Teen Wolf. So,
well, the Lumley and Roderick stuff in the present, like he almost walked out, and then Roderick was like, "You're gonna have me on murder if you stay," Like, I want you to stay, and you'll be able to prosecute me for murder.
Carl Lumley. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Did I say Lumley again?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I said Lumley, and then you said Lumley, and I was like,
Dupin.
this is not correct. Yeah. Dupin. Okay.
Yeah. So that, I thought, was, like... But because he...
Say it again.
He, like, knows what's going on. Dupin knows that he's, like, trying to keep him there for some reason, and I'm getting real worried that you're right, that he's gonna be the one that's bricked up, and I don't like that. That doesn't make me feel good. All the rest of them
it's not called American Feel-Good Story.
All the rest of them have been worth it. So regardless, he was about to get up and walk away when Roderick was like, you could have me on murder if you stay and listen to the rest of the story. And he has also admitted that, like, what he's seeing are not hallucinations because of his degenerative illness.
He claimed that.
I think it's real. Because then, like, apparently Frederick started swinging the grandfather clock pendulum. Mm-hmm. Creepy. Super creepy.
Yep.
So, Frederick was awful. I mean, I as is always the case, I am sort of curious to go ahead and watch this again to see what I pick up on. Because Henry Thomas has been playing it sort of twitchy the whole way.
But now he's on a ton of cocaine.
Yeah, but I was going to say, I'm not sure what of that, like, is his actual, like, operating system and what is paranoia and drugs.
Yeah.
But the stuff with Morella is just horrible.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
If anything,
awful.
He deserved to get his face ripped off by a monkey. I think he got off easy.
I don't know, the slow, like, slicing
like
before everything came down.
Yeah, and so he got very theatrical and
very theatrical for a dentist in another life as well. So
and his Roderick kind of called on him because he'd been,
dicking around.
He needed to pick up the slack.
Yeah, demolishing that building.
He gave him this, like, pep talk about how to be, like, a leader, and so he sort of, like, repeated that. Because I'm not entirely sure what his end game is with Morella. Is he just going to keep her? As, like,
well, apparently now we're cool. Now everything's fine. Yeah. An eye for an eye.
He had to,
if all of her skin going missing wasn't punishment enough.
I mean, I liked the sentiment. I wasn't keeping notes, unfortunately, so I don't remember. But there was, like, a good 5 lines in this one that were really excellent.
There were a lot of really good ones. Yeah.
But Lenore did find her mother and did call for help.
Well, because you were right too. Those bandages were not getting changed, like, at all.
No.
That was vile, and it was big because they didn't say it. So I might not have really thought about it had you not said something. But again, that is another example of stuff that I like because it's there.
Yeah.
But he's not beating us over the head with it.
Like Lenore isn't going, you haven't even changed your bandages.
Yeah.
No, it's just the seeping pus that's coming through.
But it's like that kind of brutality doesn't need glitter.
Yeah.
So
he also, because another thing that was, like, really truly awful is that he turned her on her side before he pulled her teeth out so that she wouldn't drown in her own blood.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Disgusting.
Yeah, this is
that she would live through it.
This is 7-layer dip of torture.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, her body is broken, but he had no part in that, and so he had to have a part in breaking her physically, but while also breaking her mentally and
because the wedding photo collages. I mean, she might have had sex with Prospero if the opportunity presented itself. But no, I'm just saying she didn't actually do it. She did lie about where she was going, but, like, this punishment does not fit that crime.
Not at all.
Like, maybe Frederick, why don't you just go have sex with another woman and then we'll call it square?
Yeah, like, I don't know, while you have me on Nightshade, why don't you, like, bang people in front of me while I, like, can't react to it? Like, I don't. That's where my mind went.
You'd have to find a really dicey sex worker who would be willing to do that. In the room with your rotting, melted wife.
Some people will do a lot of things for money. You never know. Just don't look at her.
Don't look at her.
So it does seem like the cavalry has shown up because we saw police lights, but we didn't see any interception or anything like that. So I guess we'll see where this culminates after that. But Frederick went to go oversee the demolition, and that's how he got.
Because while he was still in the room, Verna came up behind him, which we only discover later, and made him put the nightshade stuff in his bag of coke. So he snorted a bunch of coke in the building and then immediately fell down. It was great.
We had Juno.
She wants to get off the pills.
And I am still... She so far has been kind of the most fascinating, because the whole thing's been interesting, but she has been fascinating because I do love the scene and that we witness, because she clearly is important. We're spending time with her, not a lot, but we witnessed her talk to her doctor about how to get off this medicine.
It's like the family doctor though, which is a
sure,
and he works for Fortunato.
She said that, but she was like, but you are still my doctor. And he did tell her, like, he did give her the truth. And so she confronted Roderick, telling him that she wanted to get off it. And I feel like, why does... Because Roderick is insistent that she can't do that because she's their walking success story. But I'm like, why would people know she had gotten off it? Like, why
Well, I feel like, in my opinion, there's really... And
if anything, what better proof that your drug isn't bad than...
Well, he needs her for proof that taking so much of it works. It's the type of drug that you are supposed to be able to take in perpetuity. So if she gets off it and that gets out, it's still weird from a PR angle. Like, if Camille were only still around, I think she'd, like, understand.
Well,
but
I can explain it.
Yeah.
So, basically, this drug is day-to-day heroin that you can take.
Yeah.
So, but it's supposed to show that you can still function whilst almost being a heroin addict. Yeah. So, I guarantee you that they are using her for every single campaign that they are pushing. Sure. She is probably the face of Fortunato. Yeah. And probably a big part of any sort of Ligadone campaign. So while it would look good that she's off it, but too many people would ask the question, why did you need to get off it? Yeah. And then it's like, but aren't you in pain from your leg? And then they would talk to other amputees and then talk about how much they're in pain. And it would just be a whole big thing.
Like, the pain of an amputation fades. It turns into a different kind of pain.
Yes, but it's an ache.
Yeah.
But then it's like, well, wouldn't you want to take something so you're not aching all the time? It would snowball. It would seem extremely innocuous, but it'd be like, but why do you need to get off of it when you're telling me that I don't need to get off of it when I can still take it all the time?
I get it. I'm still a little on your team, though, where it's like, how on earth would anybody find out?
Well, she might not be as compliant.
Yeah, maybe.
If she's not
if she's not on it anymore, they wouldn't use her in campaigns. I mean, they could.
But that's what I mean, like, she might object. Yes. But I loved, still impressed with Ruth Codd in her second outing with them. Because I loved when he was trying to, like, break her down, like, break her spirit. And she just is like, 3 years, I can do that.
I can do it, yeah. Of like, you know,
go girl. Yeah, basically. She was like, and I
because she's taking 700 milligrams more a day than the next highest dosage for a person.
But I just love the game of chicken.
Yeah,
I love that game of chicken. And
well, it's also like, I'm sorry. First of all, she's in her 20s, and you are an old man.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. I'm like,
who do you think you are? So you have $1 billion? Who cares? You're an old man.
And then I'd also be like, all of your kids are dying. Who's to say you're not next?
Yeah.
So I can wait this out.
So we did have Madeline. She went. We got a really sort of like, it felt poignant scene where I thought she was taking her wig off, but it was just like a bump.
Just the bangs, yeah.
And but that just, because it just looks like the same wig just without bangs, so I'm sort of like, why did we even do that? Because I got really excited when it started to happen, because I thought it was going to be like a Marcia Cross Melrose Place moment. And
I think it's just another mask that she took off because she presented herself as herself to Verna.
Okay.
She took off corporate Barbie.
I wouldn't hate if there's a button put on that in the next episode, but I'm also not gonna like rattle a cage about it. So, but she went and stared down Verna, and they had a very, oh God, I was just
she snapped her neck, and then she was like,
well, because Verna was taunting her, and Verna was like, that was rude, my bad. But just seeing Mary McDonnell and Carla Gugino in that, it was giving me Feud.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Because the story for Feud was good, but what was
Was Susan Sarandon and
all of them.
Yeah.
Because who was Hedda Harper or Judy Davis?
Yes, yeah.
And I think it was Matt Rogers and Bowen Yang when they were talking about it, and they said the whole time they were watching Feud, it was that feeling that you got when you were a kid playing in your mom's clothes.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna get caught playing with your actresses.
Yeah.
And they like, have to explain it. And it was pinging that. It was really giving me that. They were very good together. She was trying to renegotiate her deal with Verna, and Verna kind of just said no.
She like said a poem at her and was like, let it marinate. And I was like, okay, I don't.
It's still steeping and I don't have any clarity, so.
No. Because she said, let that steep.
Yeah.
And we haven't made a big conversation about Madeline's algorithm. We've mentioned the upload your consciousness and live as AI, but she is obsessed with immortality, which is a really, 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 really tried and true and possibly even tired motivation for these types of characters and these types of stories. However, we're not focusing on it in a way that
it's not making it annoying.
No, it's not bothering me at all. And the flourish of the, sickle and the eyes and all that, it's been
and all of that whole wall behind her, when she got that thing that like picks the brains out through your nose, the whole wall behind her was covered in like Egyptian antiquities, all presumably to do with death and immortality.
That gives it weirdly a grounding flair, that it's not just like, oh, you have a god complex. It gives it a little bit of prestige, I think, in a way that I really appreciate. So she found where are they? Where Roderick is staring at the wall?
I think it's the basement of the Fortunato building.
Mm-hmm.
Is what I keep thinking.
I don't think it's that house.
It's way too industrial. And she also said your assistant says you've been coming down here a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it has to be in the building.
So Madeline tried to coerce Roderick to killing himself.
Well, she did. She straight up coerced him. He had took all those pills and a bottle of whiskey.
That's just a glass of pills. And Verna revived him because that was getting out
too easy.
So is that, let me scroll.
Yeah, I mean, we like breezed past a lot of the Morella stuff, but
I mean, I'm not going to detail.
No, Dupin was worried about the noises downstairs again. He was like, I'm getting concerned.
He's finally getting creeped out, which, I mean, thank God, but also it's one of my favorite. We get.
He also turned off the tape recorder. And we didn't see him specifically turn it back on when he sat back down.
Okay.
But
sometimes we do like Q&As and live streams and stuff, and people ask us fantastic questions, and I'm always bummed because I'm not always good on the spur of the moment. I need prompting. And so a question we get asked a lot is, what is one of your favorite tropes? And I have to say, one of my favorite tropes I am fascinated by is the point of no return. Because very often you don't know you're crossing it when you cross it. And I will be curious once we find out what we're building to, what will have been the point of no return.
Yeah.
Is it as simple as walking through that doorway, or did it happen in 1979? You know what I mean? Like, so I think that was about it. That was the stuff that needed to be talked about. So we're gonna watch the finale, and we will catch you up then.
Bye.